think we're going to get started. Want to be considerate of everybody's time, so we're going to get going as we go. Get started now. I want to thank everybody for attending today. First of all, this is the second of our two webinars concerning proofing and remote proofing. I'd like to make some introductions, tell you who's going to be part of the seminar today. First, we have Dan Gillespie. He's our Alder Color Director of Technical Services and a certified color geek. Dan Caldwell is the president of ICS Color, and Vicki Blake is the vice president of business development over at ICS Color. And I'm Marty Davis. I'm the president of Alder Color Solutions. So today we're going to be, just so everybody knows, we have everybody on mute. So if you'd save your questions for the end of the day or the end of the presentation, we do have a Q&A chat window that you can go ahead and use, and we will answer all of your questions at the end, but feel free to enter them in as we go along. So what I want to start with is, who is ICS Color and what is Remote Director? Alder Color Solutions is also the partner of them. We're a technology partnership. We're going to do a recap of webinar session 1. We're going to talk about digital proofing in your workflow and at your press, and then a solution for remote press checks. ICS Color. They're headquartered in Cardiff by the Sea in California, United States. Their core competency is color. They deliver the verified accurate color to all different viewers. They have a staff of engineers. They do training and support to provide a client server solution that really, and we'll see this a little bit later on, tracks the file approvals from the design to the press. And that's where we get our theme, Think to Ink. We also have support located throughout the world. Alder Color Solutions, which I am the president of, and Dan is our lead technician. His headquarters in Portland, Oregon. We provide global support. We are certified color IT services, and we provide solutions for the color management process. We're your #1 source for, we feel, quality training, support, solutions, wherever color really counts, and it could be printing, manufacturing, brand management. Go ahead. And what does our partnership mean? So basically, Remote Director they are the ones who created the first certified accurate color display based proofing solution. They have multiple patents for that display, remote display, and verification. We, on the other hand, Alder Color, we are the ones who can actually implement that for you. Because we have the experience in everything from the press room all the way through the finishing, our team of certified color IT experts can go ahead and provide the integration required for Remote Director. So we work together as a team to provide this world-class digital color proofing solution. So we want to quickly recap, for those of you who weren't on the webinar last week, what we're talking about as far as digital proofing goes. So what we want to talk about is the proofing process. And it is a circular process that can create breaks in the continuity of the workflow and a lot of delays, because you start out, the printer creates a proof, we send it over to the customer goes ahead, they mark it up, send it back to the printer receives it and compiles it, and then the whole process starts over again, because then they go and they make the changes and send it back out. So this could be it is a circular process, and it could be a time-consuming process that will give you delays in your production. We go ahead. So the problem is it breaks the digital workflow. There's no way to know what conditions a person is looking at that proof under, whether they have a light booth, whether they have fluorescent lights, whether they have LED lighting. There's also, you end up with multiple copies that are not usually registered or verified in any way. The comments and approvals obviously have to be compiled manually. It can take weeks to complete. And then a lot of times the expectations are often left unmet because something gets dropped off or something gets changed. Sticky note drops off of a proof sheet, whatever it might be. So we have a solution for that. And I'm going to let Vicki talk a little bit about what a digital proof and digital proofing solution is. So Vicki, take it away.
Sure. Thank you, Marty. And, there's a lot of things that, go into breaking the digital workflow. And one of the other ones that I wanted to point out too is version control. I worked inside the Hershey Corporation for a couple of years, and I watched people every day sit there and say, is this the version after we asked them to warm up that Munsell maroon for the chocolate? So that's just yet another problem with trying to figure out what you're doing when you break your digital workflow. So the solution actually is digital color proofing. This saves you a lot of time, it saves you a lot of money, and it improves communication between the suppliers, and it's actually sustainable. So basically, as we said, everything's digital from photography to press, except for the hard copy proofing. So with a digital color proofing workflow, your single latest version is always served up to multiple people. They can actually review this simultaneously if they like, and you can even refresh your screen and see a comment that somebody made like 2 minutes ago or something. More importantly, the color and viewing conditions are not only correct, they're stored within the file. Your comments and your sign-offs of all your versions are automatically compiled for you, and it's automatically archived. The approved file is then immediately available for the printer to download. So what is digital color proofing? Digital color proofing means verified, color accurate, monitor-based digital color proofing. That's kind of a mouthful, but what it really means is if you're invited to see a proof and you are deemed as color critical, what we will do is go out and actually verify what the status is of your monitor, when it was calibrated most recently, and when if it passed that calibration. So that way we know that everybody is seeing the exact same color. It's also a connected workflow, and we do support hybrid proofing. If a printer doesn't have a monitor at press, we can use our software to guarantee he can get a hard copy off of a calibrated Epson that matches what we showed him on the screen. So in summary, we really spent all of last week telling you why digital color proofing is faster, more accurate, more trackable, and more green than hard copy proofs. Take it away, Dan.
Hey everyone, Dan Gillespie here. So in this slide, we're looking at kind of the overall workflow, so the benefits for each party. So we have the creative people in the upper left here. They're doing, design work or photography, and they need to communicate that between their design team, their clients, and multiple printing companies maybe around the world who are going to print this for them. So if monitor profiling is so great, why isn't everyone doing it? So this is the things that we surmise. And that is that printing companies are hesitant because, first of all, physical proofs generate revenue, and they haven't quite figured out how to monetize a digital proof. They're charging for those electronic proofs seems, because it's not a physical thing, they don't have a revenue stream around it. But the truth of the matter is that digital is now and is the future. So digital proofs have been around for almost 20 years, but digital proofs are not as accurate. This is the misconception, is that digital proofs are not as accurate as physical proofs. But the truth of the matter is that the digital proof it can actually be more accurate than the inkjet proof or hard copy proof. It all depends on what kind of hardware you have, what kind of settings you're using, what kind of software and hardware you're using to color manage that device. So why not just use Photoshop? Well, this is possible for soft proofing, within a single color space like RGB or CMYK. But it's not all contained. So the customer, just by looking at the image in the source color space, is not seeing the destination color space. They would need to run that image through a color conversion, or at least have that output profile that they could utilize the soft proofing functionality within the Adobe Creative Cloud applications to get an accurate proof on their screen. But Photoshop cannot preview spot color channels accurately at all. So once you go beyond CMYK or RGB into extended gamut workflows and spot color workflows, there's no way to utilize Photoshop for a color accurate soft proof. So we have twofold here. We have two scenarios or instances. We've got the person who's viewing the proof. So of course, for the person that's viewing the proof, we really need to make sure that the environment that they're viewing the proof in is correct. If they're just looking at this on, in their office with their windows there, and it's sunny in the morning and cloudy in the afternoon and whatever, their perception of color is going to change throughout the day. So it's really important that we have proper lighting and ambient light in the room. And Alder Color Solutions, we represent both GTI and Just Normlicht in terms of viewing booths. So what you're looking at here is a picture of the proof check box that we sell. We refer to this as the spoke. So we have kind of this hub and spoke architecture. And the proof check box comes with a desktop viewing station, comes with a light in it, comes with a professional graphics display, a computer, and a colorimeter. So here's what you're looking at here. So this is a brand new product from ICS that I was helped Dan, invent or produce. And like I said, it comes with everything needed for the client to view these digital proofs accurately. So digital proofing at the press. This is what we're talking about now. So up until now, we are able to share measurement data with customers. So imagine a press operator is printing a job, he's measuring color bars right from the work, and we could share those color measurement data with the customer. Although a lot of the creative people just don't want to see the numbers. They don't understand the numbers, they don't trust the numbers, they really want to see what it looks like. So what happens is the printing company will usually generate a proof, and that's generally targeted to a standard, for instance, Grackle in North America. That would be Grackle 2013 coded, for instance. The printers measure the color from the specific values that shows the accuracy, but when running a print job to the standard, the printer will match the proof, but people don't trust it. So the procedure is to fly someone out and to do an on-site press check. And this has been going on for decades, where the print buyer, whoever the brand is or the client is, would send typically a creative person out to stand by the press and okay the color on the press while the job is running. But we don't need to do this. So the problem with in-person press checks is often that the person sent to do the press check really has little knowledge of the printing process or color management or color science. The color of the press check is generally eyeballed visually. They're just kind of looking at it and saying, could you make it a little more pink or take away some, a blue cast or whatever? So it's highly inaccurate and there's no math or science behind it. It's just someone, using their visual perception and telling the press operator to make adjustments based on what they're seeing. So it's also very time consuming. The printing company is required to coordinate their production around the schedule of the client so that, the client needs to be there. So, production times get moved around. If people are late or whatever, there's lots of downtime between press runs and for review that can take hours. We have customers that have taken 12 hours on a single press check for a single press okay on a single job. And it's very costly. So the clients in some cases spend over $1 million annually paying to fly people around, stay overnight, rent cars and eat out and whatnot. And the printer is wasting time. They could be printing other jobs on. And they're also, spend time on ink and paper for their inkjet proofing. And all of these costs can be saved. So especially these days with the pandemic, printing companies and clients must limit their people in their facilities. Of course, that, will become a little more lax as things calm down. But I think many companies will not, continue with what they were doing before. So we need to make sure that we have solutions in place to handle this digitally. So with more technologies available to perform these tasks remotely, press checks are forced to adapt as well. This is where the remote press check comes in. So this is completely safe, efficient, and accurate. Remote press checks can save thousands, if not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars and keep all team members safe. So let's talk about the remote press check workflow. So we are actually taking a photograph of the press sheet. We are delivering that to the customer electronically. The customer is able to display and compare to the approved digital proof remotely. They don't have to leave their office or their location. It provides a visual window for the print quality manager or any quality assurance feedback from a measured press sheet and a visual common report for all parties in the project. The solution for creatives and brands and those who want a visual of the actual press run, not just an inkjet proof that was output to a standard. So everyone is seeing the exact same thing. So how it's currently being done, and we've, talked to lots of clients over the last year, and a lot of them are simply using their iPhone. They're taking pictures of a press sheet and sending those to their customers for approval. They realize that these are not accurate color-wise at all. So that's really kind of a content proof. So this is maybe okay if color is not important to you, but if you really want to see a color accurate digital proof, this is never going to cut the mustard. What we need is proper lighting. The environment in which the photo is taken determines what is seen. It's almost impossible to get a photograph of a coated press sheet without, everything reflecting off of it. So we need to make sure and take a photograph of this press sheet in a controlled lighting environment. And we need to do that with a device that captures the photos and settings, determine what the color shifts are and so on. And the software that we use, the data tells us the accuracy and tolerance. So we can actually generate a report just like you would a verification report from a proof or a printed sheet we can generate that same kind of report from the data from our camera profiling. So I invented this product. It is a digital capture box. So on top of this box is a hole where a camera is placed pointing straight down. It's a patented one-of-a-kind 5000K LED desktop light box, and it's specifically for capturing digital images as color accurately as possible. So you can see on the right-hand side of the box, it's open right here. There's actually a flap on the box that has Velcro on it to hold the flap up. So press operator would flip the flap up, insert the press sheet into the box on the ground, and the camera would take a picture of it. So the whole package comes with a computer. It comes with a graphics, professional graphics LCD or LED display. It comes with camera profiling software. It comes with a tethered camera and capture software, and the flagship soft proofing software from Remote Director, including installation, configuration, and training on site. So we are capturing the digital image of the press sheet. Press operator pulls a sheet from the press, slides it into the box. The picture gets a custom camera profile applied to it, along with some other corrective measures to yield the most color accurate digital image possible. That digital image is uploaded to the cloud. When I say the cloud, that is the press check server system, or excuse me, the Remote Director server system, and the customer is invited to view the proof. So once the customer gets that invitation, they are forced to calibrate their monitor if they haven't done so in a certain amount of time. And the press side is actually able to get all the feedback from the client's monitor calibration. So he's absolutely sure that the client is viewing this in the proper, on the proper display with the proper settings and so on. So this is an example of some of the press side solutions that Remote Director has installed. So we have the ability also to utilize this as a press side solution for the press operator, so that he's viewing the exact same thing that the client is viewing, which is either a Grackle digital proof or a photo of the actual press run. So the press check solution, we can provide a report that the color accuracy is below an average of 1 delta E. And that accurate client viewing of the digital press sheet is utilizing the proof check system to deliver it. And the comments and sign-offs and communication all use the Remote Director software to tie it all together. So that if the client decides to mark up the proof, all of the annotations for that are included in the proof cycle or in the job. All the versions of the proof with any corrections are all contained in the job. Any comments and a digital sign-off are all contained in the job. So the benefits of this are, of course, speed, because the consumer product groups or clients get their products to market faster and respond quicker to market trends. They have improved supplier and vendor communications. This can also be a value add for the printing companies, because not everybody's offering this right now, and the clients are really love this solution. So not only is it fast, but it's kind of ties customers in, so maybe they're not just buying on price anymore. It also has the ability to save you money. So the digital press sheets save time and costs, especially for travel, lodging, expenses, so on. And it reduces errors and faster turnaround times and eliminates cost, being able to produce the final work a lot faster. And of course, it's still as color accurate, if not more color accurate than any physical proof the customer is getting right now. So the printer has an accurate target proof and it will not fade or shift. And this reduces errors and everybody's happy. And of course, completely safe as well. So in summary, apprehension is natural. One of the other things I didn't mention in terms of the apprehension is companies like ours, dealers and software companies and printer manufacturers, they don't want you to stop buying printers and ink and paper. Of course, we don't really either. But there has to be a revenue stream around digital color accurate proofs. And, we are leading the charge in this, this changeover to the next generation of proofing systems. So the virtual proofing and the remote press checks are the future. The color approval is a lengthy process at this point, and it can be done a lot faster, literally in minutes or hours versus days and weeks. And it's completely safe, it's efficient, it's extremely accurate, and has the potential to save thousands and keep everyone safe. So that is the end of my presentation. I think at this point, we'll look in the QA and see if there's any questions.
Dan, I have one that has come up in the past. When we talk about integrating this with workflows, and this is where I think it's very important, can you talk a little bit about the open architecture? Because if somebody had, whatever their workflow is, it has to integrate with those components. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, the solution is totally cross-platform. So it doesn't matter what environment you have, whether it's Mac or PC. And, from the creatives to the pre-press, everybody's pretty much using PDFs. So the Remote Director platform, of course, also supports PDFs, as well as many other file formats. And that is up to 24 spot channels in a PDF. One of the things that we talked about in the first presentation that we don't mention here is that Remote Director has a spectral blending engine under the hood. It's not a typical ICC product. And that means that, it can take a CXF definition. It can predict overprinting conditions and so on, whether those are tints or solids of spot colors within a PDF. So this would fit in any workflow anywhere in the world.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions that they'd like to ask Dan, myself, Dan Caldwell, or Vicky as far as integrating digital color? Okay, here we have a question, Dan. The question is, how do you solve reflection when photographing flexible films such as white poly?
Well, it's all about not having any direct light on the surface. It's all reflected or refracted light. So, a lot of the secret sauce from the press check box, the digital capture box that I've created, is that there is no direct light on the surface. It's all, bouncing around inside the box. The LED lights that we utilize inside the box are a perfect 5000K. You can also purchase them as 6500K if your industry requires that. And those lights are 99 CRI. So they're perfectly white lights, perfectly color balanced, and they are not reflecting or pointed at the surface whatsoever. So
that problem is actually why Dan became involved in this 100%. We tried to come up with a solution where we just pointed a camera on a press console to capture the sheet and feed Remote Director, but the glare and the flare of the lighting became a major problem. that we could not conquer. And the reason we partnered with Alder and got Dan involved was to bring in that expertise to figure out how to eliminate the glare and capture the sheet accurately.
Yeah,
Great.
we were
And then we
originally
had another question. Oh,
we
go
were
ahead, I'm
originally
sorry.
thinking about, retrofitting viewing booths with a camera system, and we went way down that road and realized that that was never going to work.
We have another question. How do you handle booklets that don't lay flat?
Most of the instances that we've implemented so far are an 8-up press sheet, so they're not imposed or bound yet. So I mean, again, there's no reflection in there. I've shot several 3D objects in the box, and I'm not getting any glare on the 3D objects. So, of course, there would be, some distortion from it not being flat. But other than that, I don't think there would be any issue with it.
Great. And Chuck, I'm not going to attempt to say your last name because I know I'll make it wrong. But he has a question. What size press sample can the booth hold?
The press check box is 44 inches wide by 32 inches deep. So it'll handle a 28 by 40 press sheet.
Let me ask a kind of an ancillary question to that. Is it possible for in a packaging environment where they may be using a VLF environment, can you get a larger size booth if required?
Well, yes, we're hoping that, we have a full, product line of digital capture boxes. Smaller ones for maybe narrow wide flexo. The size that we released is kind of targeting offset and litho. But we could also come up with larger ones for gram format.
Great. And Brad Turner has asked the question, is the color accuracy and data being used to render the press sheet virtually for virtual press visits generated from measurements like traditional color bars or from the camera's photograph taken in the booth?
Brad, what we do is we actually turn the camera into a colorimeter that's made to measure the press sheet the same way a colorimeter measures the display. We profile the camera with the paper and ink of the press sheet, and it's no longer a traditional camera. It's actually a colorimeter that measures the sheet just like a scanner would.
Great. And how long does it take to capture a print sheet?
Seconds. Literally, from our testing, we can have the photo taken, the camera profile applied, and have the job uploaded into the cloud in 3 minutes.
All right. Is there any other questions? Well, if there are not, again, I want to thank everybody for attending today. I hope it was worth your time and you got some good information out of it. We did record this session and we will be able to go ahead and send out links if you'd like to see it again. We'll also be doing a second session later today in case you know people that you feel that would benefit from this. And we did record last week's sessions also. So if anybody would like information, feel free to contact us. All of our contact information is on the screen in front of you, and we can send you the link for last week's presentation also. If there's no other questions,
Marty,
again, yes.
I was just going to jump in and kind of add something to what Dan Gillespie said earlier about people feeling there was a taboo about charging for digital proofs. That is often a common reaction up front, but we tend to always point out to them that it takes the same color expertise, the same hoops to jump through and everything else to create a digital proof. So we encourage you to actually charge for these proofs. What you're saving between the printer or the graphics provider and the customer is you're saving the paper, the ink, the time, and especially the FedEx charges. But the rest of that charge should still be there.
Right, and that's a great point, and I think that it kind of as an ancillary before I turn this off, is 20, 25 years ago, I sat in a series of there were webinars, there were live seminars at the time, and the controversy at that time was, can you actually have a proof without dots? Can an inkjet be a good proof? And what would they charge for it? And now obviously inkjet has become the de facto standard of the printing industry. I don't know if anybody's actually currently making a dot-based proof, whether it's a, Fuji final proof, Kodak approval, one of the DuPont B2 proofers. So this is really just the next step in a logical evolution. And again, and it was the same thing. Can they charge the same thing for a color managed inkjet proof as they did for a color managed dot proof? And the answer was yes in the long run. So.
Yeah, great point, Marty. That's the kind of stuff that we cover in the first session.
Right.
You want to see the recordings.
All right, well, great. I don't see any more questions. Again, all of our emails are right there on the screen in front of you. And we'll be sending everybody just a follow-up email, thanking you, and with our contact information if you'd like more information about integrating color digital proofing into your workflow. So with that, Dan, and Vicki, thank you for your time today. Thank everyone else. And I guess we'll be seeing each other a little bit later.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.